anime, it's about to get awkward. I'm Chris.
I'm David.
And today, we are reminding everyone that we've actually started our Halloween section of H-Star Anime. Started last week when we went and took anime adjacent Castlevania.
Right. Enjoyed that one a lot.
Oh yeah, indeed. And now this week, we start our first half into Hellsing Ultimate.
So I've asked my guardian angel to come along to remind me to watch my language and to protect me from the evil vampires.
That's what you were aiming for, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to be mean to this movie.
Oh, hey. So
go ahead and tell them a little bit about the OVA.
Okay, so Hellsing Ultimate is the OVA series to the regular Hellsing series. This 10-episode series, which we only watched the first 5 so far, is more accurate towards the written manga. Almost, scene for scene, roughly, to the story. There are a few minor differences, but nothing too extravagant from it. In this particular series, they start off, we see a young girl who seems to be running from various adults who are after her life. And as she runs towards the basement, she is hit by a bullet as her blood spills onto what looks like a rotting corpse. The corpse reanimates, and we have our main leading protagonist by the name of Alucard. Original, isn't it, for vampires?
Yeah.
But in Dracula, it's Alucard.
Ever since Castlevania, that's all I ever hear now. It's Alucard.
It happens.
And I don't mean the anime, I mean the video game from 1998, 99.
And so, years forward, the young girl has grown up, become the leader of the Hellsing organization, with their ultimate weapon being Alucard himself.
She's knighted, for Pete's sake.
Mm-hmm. And in this particular case, her organization is vampire hunters. They protect the rest of London and Europe, for the most part, from the creatures of the night, without them ever realizing they're even there. Until recent events kick in where vampire sightings have been fairly high, and they're unable to keep them hidden.
Because they're very sloppy and just out there.
Yep. And in these episodes, we find out why, as we find out our main villains of the series turn out to be...
Wait for it!
Nazis. Yes. They are the remnants of World War II's Third Reich. They are the last platoon. They're the last platoon that happened to survive. And that platoon just happened to be an army of vampires themselves.
All about that vampire Nazi.
Mm-hmm. What was I say?
Keep going.
Hold on. Along the way throughout the series, Alucard, who is been ordered to take out rogue vampires, runs into a woman who has been caught by one, and has opted to turn her into a vampire.
Well, when he meets her, she's being used as a meat shield.
And the only way to, get to his target is to shoot through her.
Like, all through her. Like
straight up the hole.
Damn big.
And the only way to actually allow her to survive, he allows her to choose. You can die here.
As a human.
Or you can live as a vampire.
Die and live again.
Your choice. Of course, she opts to be a vampire. Though, through most of the series, Ceres seems to be reluctant that she is a vampire.
Right. For most of the first half of the 5 episodes, you're not even going to know the woman's name. They call her policewoman.
Yeah.
We learn that she refuses to drink blood. She has to eventually start sleeping in a coffin because she has to regenerate and regain her strength and powers, and since she won't feast on the blood of humans, or even animals, it appears, because she's trying to eat human food, that's what she has to do. And now her speed, her durability, her senses are better. her ability to carry
Large weaponry.
anti-tank rifles that should be, mounted on small jeeps. She's carrying them in her 5'2" blonde frame.
And shooting them as if nothing could stop her in the world. I mean,
like a old west kind of gunslinger who fans the hammer. She's doing this with 50 cal sniper rifles. Yeah,
I was like, Jesus.
It's like anti-personnel. Hell, these are anti-vehicle.
Oh yeah,
it's ridiculously awesome.
And
she is my favorite character so far because she still has that grasp of humanity.
I think that's what separates her from everyone else for the most part, is she has that thought process.
Oh, wait. Tell him about the butler.
Oh, my God. Walter, the only other probably humane person roughly left, and he's borderline humane. Apparently, him and Alucard have been tag team partners during the
running buddies
during World War II. And they actually are the original people who actually took out the Third Reich at the time and the vampire and the undead army, which they thought.
Now, the one thing about Walter that I will comment on as someone who's never seen anything about Hellsing, I can't tell if he's human. They act like he's human, but he does things that are borderline on, getting to the top of human ability. First of all, they don't come out and say what year it is, but it can easily be assumed it's been 50 years since World War II. World War II ended in 1945. It's easily that this anime is in the 90s. So that makes Walter, at minimum, 70.
Easily. Because
but he doesn't look it.
No.
They draw him in a distinguished 50s, and he moves at a spry 40s. Now, he does make comments like, not as spry as I once was, it's taking a little wind out of me, etc.
And yet you watch him, own everybody as if he never lost a step to begin with.
Well, against other humans, he is quite powerful. Let's go into a little bit of the monsters. Tier 1.
Tier 1?
Ghouls.
The ghouls. Basically, these vampires literally have no will of their own. They follow their master. They just feed on whatever they can get their hands on. At which, usually, they're not very formidable. Get yourself, a high caliber holy rounds, and you're usually good to go.
Right. So, in this series, the ghouls are a step between zombie and what we would traditionally call vampire. They're in the middle there. They are undead people who've been bit by a vampire, but were not virgins.
Correct.
So they become monsters. If you are a big fan of vampire-type movies, you may think of them as bonded humans, but they're not alive. Another term I'm trying to remember, in a lot of the games and the settings that we were always big into back in the 90s, since this is an anime from that time period, was Vampire the Masquerade.
Yes.
Really brought this whole vampire subgenre back up and borrowed heavily from historical fiction, not historical fiction, the fiction history.
Yes.
Let's go with that. So there is a lore of a human who drinks the vampire's blood becomes more than human, but not an undead. These are undead, and they are more than human.
Indeed. Then, of course, we get up to your standard just vampire for the most part.
Right.
They're intelligent. They're actually capable of commanding an army of ghouls. Usually fairly powerful and know what they're doing. However, there are standard vampires that do die the normal way, cutting off the head, stake to the heart, all that jazz.
A lot of these vampires seem to be able to die just from excessive body destruction.
Correct.
So for the first vampire villain we see is the one who uses policewoman as a meat shield. Then policewoman. There are two brothers
that show up on orders that we later find out from the big army, who come in and pretty much wreck
house. Yeah, they do.
They wreck house.
Now, to be fair, they're not alone. They bring crack
crap ton of
team of ghouls.
But the two main brothers themselves, one of them decides, hey, I'm gonna go after the head of the household. The other one's like, nah, I want a piece of Alucard.
Right.
Now, granted, these vampires are no slouches. These guys are, top of the line. We can do this. However,
fast, strong, clever. One is a tactical. The other one's a bit more chaos, but he's willing to ramp the destruction up.
Of course, Alucard being the vampires, does his business. And then, of course, Walter and Ceres take care of their end.
Well, and then after the two brothers, there was the one in Argentina. The one who threw cards.
I cannot remember his name, saved my life.
So we'll call him the South American vampire. And then the sniper woman on the boat.
Yes, someone on the boat. To me, it was by far one of my favorites.
I'm about to say, she was quite excellent as a character, just because she's so quirky.
She was. She had like no care in the world. She sang her favorite songs.
Shooting a musket.
A bullet that she just controls after she shoots.
Yeah, it seems like that telepathic or telekinetic. I mean,
mm-hmm.
Did I miss any vampires in the first 5 episodes that really kind of mattered besides Alucard? We're leaving Alucard out for a reason.
In terms of vampires, no.
Okay.
However, there are some more
villains and other special people. So, but the point I wanted to work here is that these vampires are all, let's call them stage 1, maybe stage 2. Because while the brothers are awesome, they don't exhibit any special abilities. Not like the sniper girl who could control her bullet.
Yes.
Not like the Argentina vampire who could turn playing cards and fling them at a strength and speed that they cut bullets.
I mean, that was kind of cool. I won't lie.
So, most of the vampires are on the level of Police Girl, and Police Girl's technically weakening herself by not doing
what she needs to do as a vampire.
Now, Alucard has showcased probably stage 1 or stage 2 powers every time you see him. He doesn't seem to sweat. He releases these kind of locks, and I don't know how it works. He says a nice little chant.
Think about it as like it's an enchantment or a restrictive system. It's something he has control over whether or not he releases it or not. But most of his fights, he knows he can take out his enemies where he doesn't have to worry about that. But one of the things he says before he ever releases this restraint is he says, "You guys are good vampires. Let me show you what a real one looks like." And that's when the restraints come off and we see something completely different than we ever see throughout the series.
And nothing that seems familiar to any kind of vampire story, myth, legend I've ever seen.
Mm-mm.
He turns into a black cloud of eyeballs.
I mean, he's literally like a true envision of darkness.
Shadow entity of horror.
And
it's unnerving, and it's a cartoon. I mean, let's be real. I'm a grown man. It's weird looking. It makes me feel uneasy and sick-ish. So I would easily say in the first 5 episodes, I've seen his power ramp up to a 4 or a 5 in comparison to the other ones. And I've got no idea how far the scale can go. All I know is he releases the Hounds of Hell for like 3 to 10 seconds and makes lunch meat out of most of his problems.
Yeah, it's as if like, oh, I was having fun before. Okay, now we just need to go ahead and end this.
You're a challenge. I can let loose. Wait, why are you dying? Come on, man. I'm trying to play here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, damn.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of the immortal Zod. I think his name was Zod. From the Berserk series. Who was a demon who was so happy to finally meet a human who lasted longer than 6 seconds.
Yes. That was interesting.
So that's what Alucard reminds me of, that kind of character.
Yes. Now, in this series, we've talked about our protagonists, or, good guys to an extent. But then we talk about our Nazis, the actual villains of the story.
And the monsters that they're using, manipulating, or creating, depending on story.
Now, there's a third party. They consider themselves truly the good guys because they're supposed to be the holier than thou. They are the church.
Ordained by the Catholic Church.
These guys are nuns, priests, bishops, whatnot, who have trained in the holy arts to be able to take out the creatures of the night. So you can imagine they butt heads with the Hellsing organization constantly.
We learn in the beginning that there is a mutual understanding.
Yes.
First of all, history lesson. The English Church separated, or the England, the United Kingdoms, whatever term you want to use, the England, I like saying it that way because it sounds stupid. Anyhow, they separated from the Catholic Church. Henry VIII created the Church of England, became the head of the church, so it's not only a political, but it's also a religious place of power, being the monarch of England and the United Kingdoms. So it is that part of the Protestant Reformation that creates a very big distrust of Catholics in general in the United Kingdom. Up to the 20th century, you could not hold political power unless you were a member of the Church of England. Only recently has it changed, and recently being like within the last 50 years.
So, in this case, we meet our first real character for
alternate hero.
Yeah, it's alternate hero at this point.
This character is straight up 90s tastic. If you like Wolverine, the Punisher, remove the humor from Deadpool, the way he originally started.
Yeah.
This priest, Anderson.
Yes, Alexander Anderson.
Anti-hero +5.
Instantly. The reason we call it anti-heroes because realistically he's doing the same job as our main protagonists are. He's killing the creatures of the night. The only reason he butts heads with the Hellsing organization is because the Hellsing organization uses vampires to fight other vampires.
The other part to this is this, I've noticed. Now, first of all, Police Girl is a police woman.
Yes.
She doesn't want to hurt people.
No.
She wants to protect the civilians. Alucard tries very hard not to create collateral damage, not to hurt humans when it fits within his mission parameters. Correct. He has no problem destroying a hotel when given the freedom to do so.
Indeed.
Anderson doesn't care. Anderson starts down the hall. He's got a goal. Anyone who gets in the way has failed the church. You're a heretic. Go to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200 redemption.
Pretty much. And to the point where him and Alucard realistically are on
Yes. He steps into the scene at least strong enough to be a level 2 vampire.
Easy. Him and Alucard are just going at you to the point where...
That's not even counting his equipment that ramps him up +1.
Easily. And the part that always... And I love this just reminds me of episode 3. They show up, about ready to fight, and here comes Ceres. Alright, bring the tour this way.
Right. Yeah. Brings innocent people between...
the two of them, which completely drops, the atmosphere completely of,
Luckily, there's another priest with a little bit better head about his shoulder.
Yes.
Who reminds Anderson that this is not the time nor the place. We've got other things to take care of.
But so, we came here to talk and discuss business, because there's obviously a bigger evil at hand. But
the thing that aggravates me the most about Anderson is he's a character I want to like, but everything about his personality just wants me to put it in the trash can.
That's the problem. It's way too over the top. Like you were saying, he's a character that you want to tell him, take it back down to an 11.
Yeah. I'm all for you being gun-ho, servant of Christ, picking this weird order. We are the disciples of Judas Iscariot. Yeah. In our right hand, we carry the word of God. In our left hand, we carry the 30 silver pieces of treachery, Yeah. They're willing to do and damn themselves to do the Lord's work. And that makes them interesting characters. This guy's just a Prick.
Exactly. So, this series goes up and down, and heck, we haven't really even dove into the actual Nazis themselves, who realistically had probably one of the best plans I've ever seen in a group of villains. Now, the only issue I have with our main villain, who is only named as the Major,
Other than the fact that he's a Nazi, and this is like one of the cheapest, easiest tropes you can ever create to make a bad guy. Hey, who can we pick on? Nazis. Who really sucks?
No, I'm not going there.
I'm not saying that there's any redeemable quality. I'm just saying it's lazy.
It really is. But the Major, it's funny. The Major is how I separate why I call somebody a bad guy from someone who's being a villain.
Right, right.
Someone who's being a villain usually has some kind of conviction that
makes them think they're doing the
right thing.
Anderson may be a villain.
Anderson's kind of that way. And I'm kind of like, well, I can understand Anderson's thought process. I was like, I get it. However, the Major is just a bad guy. Everything he does, he even said it himself. The reason I'm doing this is not because I have a reason. I feel like doing it.
It is Tuesday, and I want to release the ghouls upon a small English town. Murder everything. Good luck. Have a good day.
That's it. And I sat there and I thought to myself, I hate bad guys like this. Because it's
lazy.
Lazy. I'm like, at least if you had something behind it, like he's like he truly believed in the Third Reich and blah, blah, blah. No, nothing like that.
At best, he's somebody who's intrigued by science.
Yeah.
At best.
And
no morals, no scruples, no give a damn.
He's like, all right, time to send my army to London, and all right,
let's burn it
down. And I was like, well, and I was like, you can at least give us something.
Now, I think with the 5 episodes, we're able to give you a taste of what you're going to see without going even too far into the story or giving any spoilers.
Nah, well,
obviously, it's a 10-episode OVA, and there's a main character who's going to make it through all the episodes.
Folks, this series has been out for a long time. I'm pretty sure most of you already know what this is. So we're not going to keep it for too much longer.
Do we want to talk about the visuals, audios, etc.?
We can, but I'm thinking more of, I just want to give a generic overview versus...
Yeah.
And then we can get to our...
Well, we don't need to score it, but give it a generic overview like this. So visually, it is a 90s anime. There's a part of it that hits me up for nostalgia, but there's also a part of me going, her hair reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! And this looks dumb.
Well, you say 90s, but it was a much... Ultimate was much later.
Okay, but it is still based on an anime from the 90s. Manga. Am I wrong?
I'm trying to remember when Hellsing actually came out.
And if it isn't, it definitely carries a lot of earmarks.
I want to say at least about the early 2000s, but I don't think it was 90s. It was a little bit later.
Despite what a lot of people will tell you, 1991 and 1998 are big difference.
Huge.
Yeah,
huge.
The 90s that everyone always makes reference to on Facebook really starts in 1996.
Yes.
Goes up to about 2002.
It's actually it's pretty funny.
I think the 90s technically died 9/11.
But I say the 90s was just a time where I think everyone was really into it and didn't want it to go away until it just kind of did.
But they really got into the grunge scene and this whole, man, I don't even care, because... Yeah. And then when the world did get sideways, people realized they did care.
So, but visually, you're right. It's to be stunning. They do make a point to really embellish the gore in the series.
That is part of what I hate about this anime. It is a gore-gasm.
Which is funny that you say that, because...
I like Berserk.
I like Berserk. Castlevania, the only reason you didn't see more of it is because they were trying to tell a compelling story that had a lot more of this than really a lot of action than most of it.
It's not...
But I'm just saying...
But that's just it.
But the level of gore was still there.
But that's just it. Castlevania had a fantasy action. There were sword fights. The gore was part of being stabbed with a sword, or whatever the fight was.
Yes.
Berserk is a war anime.
Yes.
there's fantasy, there's monsters, there's other stuff. And it does get into goregasm as well in certain scenes.
Yes.
But in general, it is a war story.
Okay.
So while you see blood, death, dismemberment, you don't really get it to the level of this is gore for the sake of gore.
Mm.
People getting ripped and spilling blood like you're dropping, a big gulp on the floor. Just kabloosh. It's heads rolling, things popping, eyeballs exploding. It's all that stuff. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's not my thing.
Fair.
It's well drawn. It's well executed, no pun intended. And the animation does exactly what it does. If you're into this style, if you're into gore style, if you want, in my opinion, easy action, light comedy, super powered things, this is it. This is not my cup of tea.
Fair enough. The sound quality to me was on point, all around.
Indeed.
I thought some of the music choices they did for certain scenes made a lot of sense, especially with a lot of like the singing, when they were coming in and wrecking London, they play that music,
Right.
and I was like, okay.
The girls singing a traditional 1700, I think, German composed song. I mean, it's like a classic music piece.
And it's just her favorite song.
The audio is great.
I think they did really good choices. The voice acting I thought was on point for your characters all around. I did not have a problem with any of them. Because they really captured the emotion of a lot of characters during each scene. Even when they do their spotty comedy spots.
Dude, I hate and love the two vampire brothers.
Yes.
The one who sounds like a redneck from southern USA
God, yes.
is amazingly awful. He's so entertaining. He's not bad because he's bad. He's bad because he's such a stereotype trope, but it is hilariously and delicious.
It's great.
Come on, boys, remember, you make the kill, you drink the spill. And I was like, pause, hold up. Do that again.
He was just that chaotic of a character to the point where even after he's done and out, he's still giving them crap.
You think you're gonna get something out of me? They're listening to us. They're gonna kill me. Boom! He catches on fire. Here's one more for you.
Just like flips him off and he dies. I'm like, I love this guy. He knew from the very beginning. If the second it was over, he's like, well, F you all.
He's like, in the morning, I'm gonna put on my shoes. Oh, what's this? Character trait, redneck who blows shit up. I got this. Let me put this on with pride.
It was greatness.
He owned it and he did it.
Indeed. As for story, this is the part where
we are going to differ, I think.
I don't think so, because we're reiterating at this point, because it is a little bit of lazy writing.
To me, there isn't much of a story.
In terms of any backstory of our rough characters and whatnot, and who they are, why this is happening, why this has been happening, it's not there. This world exists the way it is.
Right.
And that's all we get.
So the bad guys are monsters.
Yes.
Not only are they monsters because they're supernatural, not only are they monsters because the good guys call them monsters, but they are monsters because they have no motives, they have no foreseeable goals, they are 9 out of 10 times just going crazy for the sake of going crazy, because when we find out later, Nazis told them to go crazy.
Exactly. So it's one of those where it's like, oh, okay. So, alright. But then again, this is only the first 5 episodes, so maybe a lot of what we're missing comes in later on for the next 5.
To me, the only good story qualities are what's going on between the church and the Hellsing organization. Is it only because Catholic Church, English don't like Catholic Church? Is that it?
I personally think when you talk about the actual priests actually have a good head on their shoulders, that may be the only problem they have. But if you talk to, like, Anderson, people are like, nah, it's because you have a vampire on your side. And I don't like it.
Well, plus you're Protestants.
Yes. So, and for him, it's, well, nope, you're not part of the church.
Right.
Nope, you're done. So,
And the number 2 part of the story is there's these character ties that they're not really going into.
yeah.
Alucard calls Sir Integra
Yeah.
master. Why is she the master of a vampire? I understand why the policewoman calls Alucard master. He made her.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the part where her blood spilled on the corpse.
And woke him up. I get that. But there's got to be more to it than just that.
I don't remember if there is, but I'm sure we'll find out.
We'll find out.
But ladies and gentlemen,
enjoyment.
I was going to go there, but I'm thinking I want to wait just a little bit longer for that one. Only for the sheer fact that not only have we ran on for a little while.
That's okay. We can do it.
But it's because I think...
We've been forgiven.
No. I think the real reason is because I want to save that part for when we actually truly finish the series.
I think with the way we've talked about it, you can tell what parts we like, what parts we don't.
And I think after we're done with all 10 episodes, I think we can really say whether or not it was truly enjoyable or not. Watching a series halfway through is very biased when you want to say, am I enjoying it or not? And because...
Well, I don't know about that because I've watched things where I've enjoyed the beginning and hated the end. I've seen some where it was...
Well, you're
going to find a lot of...
You can always enjoy a series and crap on the ending or something, but...
Or love the ending and hate how it got there.
Get there. I mean, it's just how it works. And I think before we really dive into overall enjoyment, I really think we want to finish all the episodes. So, ladies and gentlemen, for right now, that's the first half of Hellsing Ultimate. I'm Chris.
I'm Dave.
As A-Star Anime. We'll see you next time.
On the way out, tell the people where we watched it.
Oh, that's right. We did watch it on Funimation. Great group of folks. We did watch the English dub for it. And, so...
If you want to give it a look, that's where you gotta
go.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't know how far their collaboration with Crunchyroll has been as of late. So I don't know if they have the sub on there yet. But as of right now, the only place to actually see it is on Funimation.
Well, I mean, that might...
And, most likely Hulu as well. I wouldn't be surprised.
There may be other places. That's just where we went to.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Hulu has it because it was on TV, so it wouldn't make sense.
Right. And I'm sure you can find the DVD online to purchase.
Correct. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it a good look at. We'll finish this up next week.